Welcome back to the Kaiju Apostle Podcast, the show where two seminarians discuss and read way too much into giant monster films. I'm David.
I'm Chris.
And joining us this evening is the one and only Kaiju Kim. How are you, Kim?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. How are you, Chris?
Oh, yeah, it's awesome. Oh,
There's about a 3-second delay between us saying something and you responding, Chris. This is wonderful.
it's heightening the tension, making you wait a little.
That is one thing it's doing. Yes, absolutely. We are doing our Showabration episode, which is our last episode before the hiatus, as a way of just celebrating how much of an experience these films have been. We just kind of want to touch on some of the more memorable moments of the series and kind of give you all a chance. We had you ask some questions as well, so that should be fun. Before we jump in, though, Kim, we ask everybody, what is your history with the franchise?
Well, I have been watching Godzilla movies pretty much since birth. But the only non-Godzilla kaiju film I saw as a kid was Rodan. So I sadly didn't see a lot of the kaiju films till I hit adulthood. There's still a few that I have to catch up on, but I have seen quite a few. Yeah.
So with Rodan, then, did you find yourself like, because I know when I was a kid, obviously, I really loved the ones where there's more fighting, right? But Rodan was, I don't know, I could tell back then it was a really good movie. So, like, are you one of those people that you were more into the fighting, or did you appreciate some of the more cinematic elements as well? Like, what was your favorite growing up?
My favorite? Ooh. I loved me some Godzilla versus Megalon. Yeah, I like the fighting, but I also appreciated like the story. I never wanted to skip the human parts, even as a kid.
Yeah, I think that's kind of interesting how people make it seem like, well, you know, when you're a kid, you only care about the monsters. And it's like, I was the same way, right? I mean, obviously, yes, that's like what hooked me. But yeah, I never fast forward through any of those parts. Like they were just as interesting as the rest. I mean, especially with like Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, like the ship scene, you know, you have all the even with Terra Mechagodzilla, the Interpol agents, like that was just cool to me. So I don't get why people would think it's just an adult thing to watch that. So you grew up with the films. Like, who got you into Godzilla?
My dad, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Fun fact: my dad was born the same year Gojira came out, 1954. So my dad's just as old as Godzilla.
That is awesome. With him getting you into the movies, then was that something he grew up with, or was it something that he discovered later?
Oh, he grew up with it. He actually saw like some of the Showa films in theaters, like on the big screens, which is really cool.
That's awesome. So the reason I found out about you is obviously everyone's kind of jumping in on Twitter here recently, it feels like, but I know you have a YouTube channel, which I have checked out. I do enjoy what you're doing on there. So what inspired you to make a YouTube channel and a sea full of kaiju YouTubers?
Well, I just had an itch to create content, and I figured, okay, what can I make content about? What am I passionate about? Oh, I'm passionate about Godzilla. I won't shut up about him. And so I I decided to make a YouTube channel about Godzilla, but I wanted to expand my horizons, like, add some variety to my content. And so instead of naming my channel All Godzilla All the Time, Always Kim, I am Kaiju Kim.
Yeah, it rolls off the tongue a little easier.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Well, because you were telling me before we started recording, and we had talked about this before as well. So you used to make videos about female-fronted rock and metal bands. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
That's awesome.
Yes. I lost the drive after a while. It was fun. I did it for about a year, maybe two, and then I just kind of fell off of it. Life got busy, and then I fell out of love with that, and then I fell back in love with Godzilla.
Yeah.
So here we are.
So the passion for creating's there. It's just the direction you're going with it's changed, which makes sense. I mean, I think Chris and I have, we did a Star Wars podcast before. Now we're talking about Godzilla. Like, we have that desire to create. It's just different seasons, right? So absolutely get that. So for the listeners at home, what female fronted band that people don't know about would you suggest?
Yes.
That people don't know about? Let me see.
Everyone's got that closet band, right? They're like, this gives me street cred. Like, I knew about them before anyone else did. So, like, who's that band for you?
Off the top of my head, there's this band called Forever Still.
Okay.
I believe they're from the Netherlands.
Well, we're off to a good start there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have some really good music. They're kind of a mix between Evanescence and Lacuna Coil. So if you like those two bands, you should definitely check out Forever Still.
And they're on Nuclear Blast. So that is another good sign for me. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So looks like here they toured with Children of Bodom. Okay. You have to be somewhat good to be able to tour with them. So that's a good sign. Yeah, I will definitely check them out. Yeah, I never actually, Lacuna Coil is a band that I've heard about for years and years and years. I just never gave them a chance. I don't know why. I've heard great things about them. I just don't know why I never checked them out.
You should. They're fantastic.
All right. Make a note of that. So, metal, Godzilla, what else should we know about you? Like, you are the Kaiju Kim, right? So, what makes you you?
What makes me me? Good question. I don't know. I'm awkward.
Welcome to the club.
I don't know. What else do you want to know?
So what do you do when you're not obsessing about giant men and well, not giant men.
Giant men.
You know what I mean? I obsess about giant men. Clearly, that's just, what I've got on the brain.
That's your day job. That's your day job, obsessing about giant men.
Jolly Green Giant Man. He's a kaiju.
Oh, yeah. Great. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I mean, what do you do in your free time? Are you into gaming? Like, what should people know about you that you feel comfortable sharing? Of course. Any lovers in your life?
Yes, I am in fact spoken for. I am engaged.
Which again, congrats. That is awesome.
Thank you. When I'm not making videos about giant monsters, I edit videos for other people. Yeah, so on top of like writing, filming, and editing my videos, I edit videos for other people, at least when I have clients.
And then you said you're doing something for school too, right?
Oh, yeah. I am in school right now. I'm working on a short film project for that. So that's fun.
Yes, I think you posted something on Twitter to your Instagram. I don't have Instagram anymore, so I couldn't really look at it. But yeah, it looked like you're having fun with that.
I'm having so much fun with it. I'm not only in it, but I'm like directing it. And I'm usually a pretty reserved person, but like when I'm directing a film, I like get into the zone. It's like, it's insane. I love it.
That's awesome.
You just give yourself really good notes to work with.
Yes. It's like, all right, Kim, that was good, but next time do this.
Oh man. Yeah, I can't even imagine like trying to direct yourself. How are you able to be objective? That would just be so hard for me.
Yeah, it's hard. It's challenging. Yeah. I gotta say, but yeah, I just kind of look back at the footage and I'm like, ooh, that wasn't good. I do that with my own videos too, because I'm used to directing myself with my own videos. So I'm like, oh, that sucked. Let's do another take.
Yep. That's how it is with editing too. I'll hear myself and I'm like, I can't edit that out. Right. And then I hear Chris and I'm like, well, I definitely can't it'd him out because it'd just be silence the whole time. People wouldn't know what's going on.
Gotta leave some content in there.
Right. Except the time that I did accidentally delete your thoughts on, what was that? Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla for the first draft of the podcast episode. I'm like, Oh my gosh. How did I do that?
Oh no.
The lost episodes.
Isn't that the worst? Like you export something and then you find a mistake after you upload it. Like,
Yes.
no.
Yes. But that's the thing with podcasting, at least you can change it and it's easy. But with like YouTube, obviously, like that's a big deal. Like because you can't just go back and re-upload the video with the same views and all that, right? Like it has to be a new video.
Yeah, it has to be a new video, which
Yeah.
that sucks. But fortunately, most of the time when I catch a mistake, it's before I actually release the video. So I lucked out there.
You know, that reminds me of people who put up a tweet and then they get like 1 like on it. And then there's like, oh, sorry, there's a typo. I wish there was an edit button. And like, okay, only one person has seen this tweet. You can repost it.
But if you delete it, you mess with the algorithm.
Yeah.
That's the thing is if you would have left it up. Oh, I guess, you know, excuse me. The thought is if you leave it up, that's the one that's going to go viral, right? But if you delete it and fix it, then it's not going to go viral. And that's the only reason why we're on Twitter. So
it's true.
Chris, do you have any questions or thoughts before we jump in to the Twitter discussion?
Yeah, so for our viewers at home who can clearly see our background here, I see you have Ultra Q very prominently displayed behind you.
There it is.
Is
yes.
that like you getting into that? Something you've been into?
I am getting into that. It's kind of a thing that I'm working on for my YouTube channel. I don't want to spoil it just yet. But I got something in the works.
That's awesome.
Sweet.
So, because you said you just finished the episode with, I'm not going to spoil it because Chris hasn't seen it yet, but the episode with the turtle and the bank robbers.
Oh my goodness gracious.
The bank robbers. I know all about it.
That would actually be a fun movie. No, like that episode it's so trippy, but it's so good. And they're like, there's legitimately like, it's based off of some like folk tale, I think. So like, there's some like very intentional references throughout it. But yeah, Ultra Q though, like Ultraman Nexus will forever be my favorite Ultraman show. But like Ultra Q and Neo Ultra Q are just right up underneath there. They're so unique and strange, and I love it. Like there's just nothing like it.
Yeah, it was a good episode. It was a little, but as I was watching, I was like, "What?
Yeah,
kind of acid trip am I on?"
Yeah, trust me, that's not even the strangest episode. So,
oh boy,
how many episodes in is this?
6.
Roughly? I'm ready.
Yeah. All right. So Showabration time. We did ask on Twitter. Really, it was 2 questions here. So first we asked, is there a Showa-era film that has made you rethink the way you live your life? If so, or if not, why? And if you had to choose a movie from this era to share with someone, which one and why? I didn't ask if not there, because obviously I would hope that we would do that. I'm going to save the longest one for last. Furbus, you are ridiculous. So I'll read through a few here. So Kyoe Toshi, appreciate the reply there. You said, no, we have Ultra and Sentai for that. Like, that was the best subtle dig, and it was incredible. I know that's not really how you intended it, but I do agree with you. But the film that she would recommend sharing with people would be Shodai or Godzilla 54, because it's so well done. So it's so well done top to bottom. Right there with Shin and the Gamera trilogy as far as kaiju films go. To introduce someone specifically to the genre, the Japanese name for Ghidorah, the three-headed monster in 1964. Andrew Roebuck, his reply was, these movies have been in my life for so long, it is very hard to break down and answer accurately. The messages and the creatures within have almost formed in some ways how I live my life. But All Monsters Attack made me feel less alone in the world as a kid, taught me my love for monsters and my lack of friends could be something to celebrate. Play can help you contextualize the world around you with the film, which the film perfectly encapsulates. As for the movie he would recommend, Godzilla vs. Hedorah. All my friends and family need to experience a madcap love letter to environmentalism. The goofiness does not separate it from the message. Godzilla films can be both. Monsters vs. Men, which really was Eric. He said, ask me tomorrow and get different answers. But King Kong vs. Godzilla makes me genuinely reflect on my media consumption and what I view as spectacle, which that's very spot on. As a representative of the era, though, Mothra vs. Godzilla combines humor, thoughtfulness, and strong character transformation. Jonathan, or JJ Hicks 19, said, other than just pulling me straight into the kaiju fandom, I can't think of anything life-altering. But Godzilla vs. Hedorah, it's silly where it needs to be, has an important yet contemporary message, and is an art house style. And last, because it was like freaking 10 tweets. All right.
Nice.
Let me figure it out. Wasn't really, no, I'm pretty close. Okay. So Furbus _ GDDC. Sorry, yeah, GDDC. So for the first question, I think it's a safe bet to say that 1954 has changed how I look at storytelling, especially monster films. Verse Hedorah also sticks out to me as its trippy visuals and story felt different from other pollution is bad stories. It helped widen my idea of cinema. So this is where he starts getting into this a little bit more deeply. 54's sober yet hopeful tone. It never plays Godzilla for laughs. He is a threat of their past coming back. When I first got into Godzilla with 2014, I just thought it was monster fights like later Showa films. Something just clicked with 54, though. The prayer for peace especially. The fact that they showed this song about the nation hoping for peace and comfort right after a hospital scene is really impactful. Honda was an amazing director in his vision, and Tsuburaya's effects showed me that Godzilla is more than fights, but that it can be true art. 54 is a perfect blend of an anti-war message along with hope for the future. With this, you would think that this would be depressing, but it isn't. It's able to take these ideas and themes and give hope to it, even as Godzilla destroys Japan. This isn't the defector for monster flicks. Emphasis is always on a goofy-looking dino suit destroying stuff. The fact that 54 was what it was, and that it could do what it did, really shows the range of cinema. You can have Godzilla as a monster, or you can have him as a hero. The fact that they go back to 54 really shows how strong it was. I think Shin emulated this idea for a modern audience, which is why it is so well regarded. I will say that that's contested these days. Without 54 and many other Toho works, I would see this genre as schlocky B flick monster mashes. Whenever I want to share a Godzilla movie, I always go to Verse Megalon. It's fine story-wise. It is just a fun film, especially to make jokes about it with first-time viewers. It's a good gateway drug. 54 or Verse Mothra are always safe bets, too. Took a lot of tweets. But do you guys agree, disagree? Obviously a lot there, but we're going to get into that here shortly. So favorite film? That's our first question here. Kim, you're up.
All right. So my favorite film from this era would have to be, I gotta say, Gojira. So like I was telling you, David, before we started, I am an old college student. Sometimes I get an assignment where I pick a topic of where we want to talk about. And more often than not, I choose Gojira. In fact, a few semesters ago, I did an informative speech on the special effects in that film. And I would have talked about the entire franchise, but I only had 6 minutes. And also, my review of Gojira, which is on my channel right now, was originally an assignment for my TV production class last semester after the pandemic hit. But yeah, that film has a lot to dissect and really dive into. And I love the dark tone, and I love the cinematography, and I love the story. And of course, it's the origin of my favorite kaiju. Like, what's not to love?
Yeah.
Your dad.
It's definitely not easy watching, though.
Nope. But I love it. Watch it all the time.
So if you had a Godzilla movie that wasn't Gojira, what would it be? Like, that was your favorite?
Either Ghidorah the three-headed monster or Godzilla versus Megalon.
I can allow that.
Phew.
No, Megalon is just, it's so fun. Like, it's one of the, out of all of them, it's so poorly constructed if you think about it. But despite that, it just works so well. I mean, I'm wearing a Verse Megalon shirt right now. You can't really see it, podcast listeners, but like, it's just one that's always stood out to me. So I get why it would be up there for you. I do have to ask though. So if Verse Megalon is one of your favorite, are you sad that next year will be the first time that we see any Jet Jaguar for, God, almost 50 years?
Yeah, I'm excited that they're bringing back Jet Jaguar for Godzilla Singular Point. I was like, yay, Jet Jaguar!
Such a cool addition there.
We did see him in a 2007 video game, though. I think it was Godzilla Unleashed for the Wii.
Yeah, he was in the newer game too, for the PS3 and PS4, and then he's been in a couple comics. But obviously, cinema-wise, we haven't seen him since then. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
What about you, Christopher?
Yeah, I think. Okay, I'm going to sound like a prayer request. I'm going to echo what Kim said about Gojira. But if I had to pick one that wasn't Gojira, actually, it would probably go with Mothra, Godzilla versus Mothra, because I think like in terms of how it shifted into the monster fights, but still had quite a bit to say about both of them, and I think we had a lot to say in our first couple episodes. But I think like that's the first one where I kind of felt like there was a lot of layers going on and a lot of stuff going together. So is this an objective view? No. Do I have a such thing as an objective view? No. You've listened to this podcast enough. But yeah, y'all were expecting me to say Son of Godzilla, but I'll be real today most of the time. Yeah, Godzilla and Mothra had a lot going on, had a lot of different layers going on, which I really appreciated. Like, I appreciated that there's so much to both, like Godzilla and Mothra both had so much going on. The humans were so, the more I sit with them, the more I kind of miss what we had with them in some of these movies, to be honest. And just in terms of setting the course for what the rest of these could have been, I think it's well done. So yeah, not an objective view. Yeah. I'm sure everyone's gonna be like, whoa. Did you see the one with Hedorah in it? And I'll be like, yeah, I did. But this one is more fun for me.
Yeah. And that's the hard thing is everyone answers Gojira, right? I mean, that's what I have, and it's not even that I think it's the first, so it has to be the best. Like my favorite Star Wars movie is not A New Hope, right? My favorite Lord of the Rings movie is not Fellowship. I don't like The Hobbit.
It's the Desolation of Smaug.
I just have to reiterate that for some reason. So it's not always the first, right? I could go through a whole list of movies here and say that, the first isn't always the best, but it's such a meaningful film. Like there's something very pure about a film that's not made to start a franchise. Like we're just so overwhelmed by that now. Whether it's Marvel, you have DC, you have Star Wars again. You have all these other superhero, like Bloodshot just got announced for a second movie, right? And I think they've talked about having other, like within the DC universe, they have the Suicide Squad coming out, which I'm actually excited for, but then you already have spin-off TV shows for some of these characters, and the show movie hasn't even come out yet, right? So like that's become such a normal thing. So to watch a movie that not only is impactful and meaningful, but it's very clear this movie was not made to spawn a near 70-year franchise, right? So whether it's the way that the movie is shot, I mean, the score is just super haunting. The effects are great. I mean, Super I did such a great job with this. And I mean, the acting is phenomenal. Like, it's one of those things where as I've gone back and watched some of these contemporary films through like the Criterion Collection, there's a reason why this film was chosen for the Criterion Collection years ago over any of the other ones, right? And really, I would argue the rest of these films, as good as they are, only are in the Criterion Collection as we have them because of this one, because of how influential that first film was in setting up everything else for the rest of the genre. But of course I had answers because I knew we'd all answer that. I I think it's a tie for me between Mothra versus Godzilla and then Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. Like what you're saying, Chris, Mothra versus Godzilla, there's a lot of layers. It's very well done. The ending kind of falls off a little bit, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But then Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla is just a freaking blast. So I'm like, I don't care. Like I can put that on and just not like, I don't know. It's such a comfort film for me. Plus the soundtrack is incredible and I find myself humming it all the time and I don't even care. So, but yeah, I knew we'd all answer Gojira. So we're typical basic Godzilla fans like that. So,
Well, how about this question real quick? If you could pick one non-Showa movie for the Criterion by itself, not based on the era, what would it be?
you're talking about like Godzilla from beginning to end, even films that you haven't watched?
Yeah, including 98.
Oh,
We don't include 98.
No, we
come on.
I just said it.
It's not that bad. Okay, so is this just Godzilla films or are we talking kaiju films in general?
Oh my goodness. Let's just do kaiju.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to let Kim go.
Yeah, that's fine.
I know what you meant, Godzilla.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't prepared for this question. Outside of the Showa-era, maybe Return of Godzilla?
Okay. Yeah, you said outside of the Showa-era because I was going to say Mothra.
Starting the thing.
I know. Hold on, let me look. You're killing me. This is tough.
For our viewers at home, he's looking at his shelves right now.
Yeah. I don't have a good answer. Like, and maybe that's just me admitting that I like a lot of these films despite not thinking they're great. But like I think of like what the Criterion collection typically picks. And it's not just necessarily quality. It's, you know, they're looking at it's several different reasons, factors in there. Yeah, I think Return of Godzilla is a safe bet, but I think even if you did something as zany as like Versus Biolante, I mean, just the practical effects in that film are absolutely incredible. Yeah, that's probably the only one I could feel comfortable choosing.
Yeah, that was going to be my original answer, Godzilla versus Biolante.
Yeah. Like, there's a part of me that's like, Shin Godzilla, there's a lot of good things about it, but I don't think it's Criterion worthy. And then obviously I love GMK. It's one of my favorite films in the entire genre, but I can't choose that. Now, if we're doing non-Godzilla films, I would say the Gamera trilogy. But
oh yeah, I agree with that for sure.
But the space women aren't in that one.
I know. It just breaks your heart.
Okay. All right. I'm just making sure you know before you make the wrong decision.
Okay. So next question is most memorable scene.
I guess it's my turn. I'm going to mention Godzilla versus Megalon a lot during this episode, so just be prepared for that. I gotta love the drop kick. The drop kick is my favorite. That's the scene I always go back to in my head, like from when I was a kid. I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
It's so iconic. Between that and the head ref flying, but especially the drop kick.
Oh yeah.
What about you, Chris?
I'm trying not to go with some of the sillier ones. Because holy cow, were there some of those?
A memory is a memory, Chris.
Yeah, true. No, honestly, I'm just gonna have to go with the answer that I'm not trying to say right now, and it was really from really thinking back from Terror of Mechagodzilla, like some of the miniature work when we're getting like the scale of all of them together, like I can't point to like one scene from the movie, but just like when we're watching when we're watching kind of like all of the suits together with the miniature work, something about watching it during Terror of Mechagodzilla really hit me in a different way.
Yeah.
And I know that's kind of a cop-out answer, and so I'm sorry about that, but something about like having watched these progress, watching Godzilla go from states of like really good suit to like, ooh, what happened to him? Do you leave him out in the backyard for a couple of weeks? All the way back to this to like just see the way that this has evolved. And
Yeah.
something about like, I think I said this and I may not have, but with Terror of Mechagodzilla, watching the special effects, and that's not really the word, but get better, it brought me into the monster fights a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think there's a better sense of scale, which just as I've thought back through some of my favorite scenes, something about it's got me. Especially when you started combining like all the different like guns and blasters Mechagodzilla had. Like thinking from Gojira to Terror of Mechagodzilla, being able to see that progression was pretty sweet.
I personally don't think Jun Fukuda is the best with scale. You go from Son of Godzilla, and then you have Ebirah. Well, Ebirah, then Son of Godzilla, and then Gigan and versus Mechagodzilla. Like, you don't. To me, the huge difference is you get Terra Mechagodzilla and they're fighting in the cities again, right? Which, I mean, you do get that here and there, but like with the rest of those films, the majority of the scenes are like on an island or a plane or something like that, and you don't have that. I mean, that's part of that sense of scale, right? Otherwise, it just looks like men in suits. But when you have the buildings and everything else, there's just something different about it. Like even with Ultraman, when you just have like the trees that help show that scale and like the way that you do the shots, like it makes a huge difference. And I think Honda just kind of had that eye. Not saying Fukuda didn't. It's just that's actually a pretty common critique is that those movies don't always have that scale. I think for me, it's still I have to be that serious one. In Gojira, the moment when the mom's holding her children before they die, like I mean, it's just I remember watching that for the first time, watching the Japanese version for the first time, and watching that and just sitting there and being like, "Holy, what did I just watch?" Like I was not. Where'd Chris go?
I'm here.
Yeah, we lost Chris.
He turned green. Just sitting there and being like, I don't remember watching this as a kid. So like, I don't know if the 1956 version had that or not, but it definitely didn't have that impact. Right. So like, when I think of like a scene that like did change me, like that definitely is one that I will never forget. Just this idea of like, we're gonna go with dad. I don't remember the exact line. I didn't write it down, but just this idea that
we'll be with daddy soon.
Yes, that's it. Thank you. Because this again, it's a movie about loss, right? I mean, there's already other moments of dialogue just acknowledging it's like I avoided the war and then this happens, right? It's people who are clearly struggling and just to get that picture of a day-to-day actual lives. Because I mean, we watch these Godzilla movies and like you see the buildings explode, but like there's no real consequences for the actions, right? And this movie just defines like, nope, there's actual lives that are being lost, and it's just
that's a really good point, because in the recap episode of Ultraman, after having watched Godzilla now, there's a recap, and I can't remember what the context was, but like one of the Ultramen pushes someone through a building and it levels the whole building. Like there's no way they had time to evacuate that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, frick, when I watch anything else, I don't think about that. But Godzilla forces you to. You're forced to reckon with. And that's kind of why I like the city battles more, because it feels like the stakes are so much higher.
Yeah. Well, that's even with some of these Ultraman shows. They'll actually like purposely try to take the monsters out of the city to try to protect people. I love just those small little things that just show the ramifications of that. Do you have a criterion question you would like to ask, Chris, or can we move on?
No, go for it.
So movie that personally challenged you the most. Kim, you have the ability to defer to Chris here if you needed to.
I'm gonna have to take you up on that because I don't have an answer.
So I'm gonna cheat again and not give a straight answer. And if we're not used to that by now, I think War of the Gargantuas, by the time we were done with it, is the one that's made me think the most. Just because thinking with our discussion on the human life, and then like the next
Are you talking about
discussion.
Frankenstein Conquers the World? Okay.
No. Just the discussion we had in terms of the value of life, and then how the next movie kind of throws that away a little bit.
Yeah.
It was a non-answer, and I knew I probably should have prefaced that better. But honestly, in a way, it made me think about how many times I've had profound thoughts and then lived my life as if I've never had them. And I know that's kind of a cheat, and that's so metatextual that it doesn't talk about the movie. But in terms of actual movies itself, so that was my meta answer. My actual movie answer is honestly Hedera, because there's something about any movie with like thinking about ecological impact that gets me a little bit more, just because I think we're all know what it's like growing up in the ecological age, but something about watching it and seeing that 50 some years ago we are still having the same problems, like that hit me deep. And I'm like, wow, we fixed absolutely nothing. Great.
We convinced ourselves that recycling will save the world, and then we realized it's a lie.
Exactly. Yeah. So hopefully my real answer made up for my metatextual.
I mean, I liked your metatextual answer too, so we're good. For me, it's Frankenstein Conquers the World. Like, partially because it reminded me that just because I don't like something the first time I watch it, I need to challenge myself and reconsider why. But having that conversation with Michael and yourself and just the feedback we got from people after that, I mean, it's really pushed me to reconsider like what we're talking about, the value of a human life, even to the extent that as I've sat here over the past few weeks, reevaluating my own views on pacifism, realizing that, if I value human life, then is it not within should I not fight to protect others? Right. Like not saying that the aggressor's life doesn't matter, but, at what point should I protect the innocent life? And just all these different questions that aren't related to this film. But as I'm thinking about it, I get drawn back to this movie and I'm like, geez, okay. So, I mean, it's one of those movies that it may not be my favorite, but I have found myself thinking about it time and time and time again. Just all these different things, even like the idea of, we're going to use someone for as much as they're worth, but, we're not going to consider, like what that does to them as a person. There's just, I could go on and on. Did you not have an answer in general, or do you just need time to come up with something? If you don't, that's fine. That's fine. You're not going to fail. Don't worry.
Oh, I didn't study. But yeah, I do agree with Chris's answer with Godzilla versus Hedorah. That did make me think a little bit about like, what we're doing to the planet and like what I'm doing to the planet. And like, I've started trying to live more sustainably, like, with producing less waste and pollution and all that goodness. But yeah, so I guess in a way that movie kind of challenged me a little bit.
Yeah. It's a very convicting movie. I wish it gave an answer. It's so hard to watch it and be like, what do I do from here?
Okay, now what?
Yep.
Okay, so wasted potential. This is just full of just opportunity. Kim, what do you got?
Wasted potential. Can I say Varan? Man, it's just your average cookie cutter kaiju film that doesn't really have a lot going for it, and I honestly to be quite honest, I don't even remember much from it because there wasn't much to remember. So like they could have done, they had a brand new kaiju. They could have done so much with it, and they just kind of like didn't try.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Chris?
Man, just from the ones that we've discussed, huh? I would say, in terms of what was hyped to me, Destroy All Monsters.
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't my cup of tea, but I know a lot of people like it. But I just kind of, there's something about the Super Smash Brothers brawl effect that didn't work for me. And
That's accurate.
I guess I just would have loved like seeing something more. And I know we talked all about why it was the way it was. We talked about its social place. We talked about like what it might have been the last one. I understand all that, but man, if it's gonna go out, I wish it would have went out with a little more to say. I wish it had a little more. I wish they would have just capitalized on having all of that together a little more. And I know you're all blocking me as I speak, but because
They've already blocked you for
let me
other
say it
stuff.
this way,
Don't worry.
because Kim, I totally know what you're saying about Varan, and I think I agree as long as I'm remembering Varan correctly. And I think there's a few of those that are kind of sitting at like the average mark that like I don't think I would use those as my answers, because if it's average, it's just an average movie. Like some don't have that potential to get that boost, but I think Destroy All Monsters really could have had a lot more.
Yeah.
It could have evolved with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that part of that is, they were planning on being the end, right? So obviously they want to go out with a bang. But you're right. It's there are elements where you're like, it was right there. Yeah. I went with Bran. It's, I was listening to the Monsters vs. Men episode about it, and I'm right there with them. Like, there are things about that movie that are incredibly well done. And I get it. It was meant to be made for TV, and then it got changed, and this and that. There's a lot of stuff that happened. But I'm just like, what? Like, how did we get to this? Like, I mean, honestly, this would be something that'll get me blocked. Is I think the only reason people like Varan is because it's in the Godzilla cinematic universe. Like, it's not a good movie. I don't think so at all. But it has that connection where, like, I don't know, what's a Marvel movie that people genuinely think isn't good? Chris, you got, I don't know, like, can you name one? Age of Ultron. Okay.
Thor.
So you cut me deep, dude. I love that movie. But again, I think part of that is there's that element of it's connected. So like we can find ourselves liking it or enjoying it because of that. So I don't know. I think Bran's the same way. The score is incredible. Like easily one of Ifukube's best scores, and it's wasted on such a bad film. And don't even get me started on the American version. That was incredibly offensive.
I couldn't even sit through the American version. I had to turn it off. It was so horrible.
Take a drink every time he says little one. It's great.
I forgot to mention the corns.
The corns. I don't want to hear about your corns.
Now I'm hungry.
Oh,
see what you've done.
All right. Biggest surprise.
Matango was surprising.
How so?
Well, there's that. And,
that was more like a freaking dolphin from SpongeBob when they learn how to cuss.
Cussing.
Yeah, but when I first watched it, like I said, I didn't really see a lot of these films until I hit adulthood. So like when I saw it for the first time, I was like, "Whoa, this took a different turn than I was expecting." It's like, wow, it's like, it's a film.
The trippiest movie is about mushrooms. It makes sense.
It does make sense, yeah.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it though?
I did.
Okay, good. I was gonna say we'd have to we'd have to share some words after if you didn't. It's funny,
On
like
record.
even though like our whole list is about like we've done quote unquote kaiju films. I don't know if Matango officially counts as a kaiju film, but we did it anyway. But we have like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 24 films on this list. Well, 25. I didn't put Terra Mecha Godzilla. But Matango is number 6 for me. I mean, it's still like there's so many good things about it. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. What about you, Chris? What was your most surprising or biggest surprise? Excuse me.
Let me cheat again. I think I was a little surprised how fast the tone had shifted in the series. I thought some of these sillier, campier ones were long out. So I didn't realize that we'd be in the. It's still kind of. It's at least early. Is it single digits or is it still early double that it gets kind of campier? Like, when was Destroy Monsters? I mean, All Monsters Attack. Either way, it's really early.
Yeah.
Compared to what I thought.
I mean, so even King Kong vs. Godzilla is pretty campy, so.
Yeah, I was expecting these to be really silly, like Gojira-esque pieces for a long time. I thought like the 70s or 80s would be like the big shift. So I was surprised we've already seen some of those. I mean, especially just Minya being so early seems like such a massive shift, and it shifted my life. But more than that, the whole series. I think the other big surprise is just like none of these movies are what I thought they were gonna be. Like, there's a lot that I thought were just gonna be straight monster movies, but none of them really were. Like, there were a few, but like, what was the one that I first said this about? Invasion of the Astro Monster. Like, I had no idea what that one was about, and it comes out swinging from left field with all this like aliens and Ghidorah, and it's like, what? So what's my biggest surprise? Every time I turned on the next one and saw what it was actually about and not what I thought it was about.
You can't judge them by the cover art, man. You really can't.
It's like someone who didn't watch the movie made the cover art sometimes.
That's accurate.
Yeah, especially the Godzilla vs. Megalon, the American version where they're on top of the Twin Towers.
I bet that one was probably edited recently.
Womp womp. I think for me, it was how good King Kong Escapes is in the Japanese version. Like, I grew up with the American version. It's super silly, like incredibly silly. And then I watched the Japanese version. I'm like, I mean, it had its comedic elements, but like, it's a really good movie. And I was not expecting to enjoy it nearly as much as I did when we watched it for the show. So yeah, that's just one of those things where I really wish there was a legal way to watch it that way. Unfortunately, as of this moment, there is not. But if Toho's lawyers are still listening, get on it, because you guys are making some of the worst merch designs ever. But if you made this movie and released it here, you would actually make money. But what do I know? What do I know? So last question that I came up with is, if you were the assistant director, what is one change that you would make to a movie?
This is kind of random, but there's the scene in Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster where like all the mafia people are in the bar, and then the good guys are on TV and they're like, oh, we're keeping the princess here. Like, okay, I maybe would have changed that a little bit to not make it so easy for the bad guys to, find the princess that they're trying to kill, maybe. Oh, I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that one slipped through the cracks. I wish my answer was as good as that.
Yeah.
That's so good.
That's pretty good.
I win.
More Minya.
How did I know you were going to say that?
Because I'm predictable. No. if there's something that I really would have, I'm stealing from my other realm, the Harrison Ford, like
Mhm.
he can write it, but people won't say it idea. I think if I were an assistant director, I'd want to. I know this is so broad. I could point to a lot of movies, but just be like, do you think humans do this in real life? Like, do we want to get a more like fully rounded human, at least one human in this movie? Because like, I know we want to like sell toys and it's Godzilla's movie, but like, I would like someone I can relate to in more movies.
Yeah.
I think Mechagodzilla's duology got us a little better, a little closer to that. And yeah. But I would have just said like we don't, it's not even like what I'm not trying to say is we need more human time. I just maybe some of the human elements were like if they were more relatable, I wonder if we'd feel different.
Yeah. I get that. I did see something here recently talking about stuff like that. Like you watch a movie and be like, people even do that. And their example is like when you go in the bathroom and you splash water on your face. And I was like, no, I've done that. And I'm like, wait, did I just do that because a movie did it? And I was like, oh my gosh.
I never would have naturally thought to do that.
Freaking brainwashed by the media, man. Oh, and next time we have Alex Jones on the show, but that's another story. Okay, so
they're making the kaiju frog gay.
For me, it's if you know me, it's gonna be pretty obvious. Take out the freaking stock footage out of Gigan. Like, there's no need to have that much, or at least find a way to blend it together better instead of like light, day, light, day, light, day. Wait, no, I'm doing it wrong. God, I'm so tired. How is it on SpongeBob? It was life, death, life, death, life, death. Okay. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it was so jarring where I just, as a kid, yeah, it didn't bother me. But as an adult, showing it to my son who does notice because he's that way, he'll notice when you don't put the books on his bookshelf in the right spot. Like, come on, guys. You should know better. So we got all the crappy questions out of the way. So now we have the questions from our listeners. So this is going to be kind of a lightning round. First question comes from Dan. Who is the most beautiful kaiju?
Mothra?
I was going to say, can't say Mothra.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Mechagodzilla.
Biolante's first form.
Am I going to be the only one who answers Minya?
Yeah.
I knew one of you was going to answer Minya.
Yeah.
I saw it coming from a mile
monster? Away. Ew, David.
I mean, you said beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and his glory is so beautiful.
Amen.
So, amen. Elijah asked, what are your thoughts on airline food?
Overpriced.
The only airline food I've had was like a blueberry muffin.
Why?
So, and that tasted okay. So like, I guess it's fine.
The alcohol is super expensive.
Yeah. I'm already on this flying death tube. Why do you have to charge me so much?
I know. It's so when I've actually had food, it's not horrible, but I'm one of those people where I'm like, why would I pay for this? Why would I not just eat before or after? Like, airport food isn't always super expensive, especially if you can find like a Chick-fil-A. You can usually do pretty well there. But yeah, why would you eat on the airplane?
There's nothing like drinking alone at an airport Chili's.
I'll trust you on that one.
I can't speak for that.
All right. Kyoto Kino asked, why do they call it oven when you oven the cold food of out hot eat the food?
Was that English?
Yeah, let me try that again. Why do they call it oven when you oven the cold food of out hot eat the food?
What?
Moving on.
I want
Tanner
whatever he's
asked.
having.
Tanner asked, if kaiju were somehow a real occurrence, do you think it would be the nail in the coffin of society or something that finally pulled the world together?
I mean, I have very little faith in humanity as it is. So I feel like if there was a kaiju involved, that would just be the end of us.
Yep. I'm going to have to echo that.
There are monsters in real world, and those monsters are us. No.
Amen.
I would say, honestly, it depends on where the kaiju is. Because if it's America, we'll get our act together. But if it's like, I don't know, Australia, I'm sure the US would be like, well, I'll figure it out. They got big ass spiders over there or something.
Famous last words. We'll throw another Ebra on the Bobby.
Oh.
And to all of our Australian listeners, I am so sorry. Speaking of which, Madison asks, what do you think about dad jokes? Do you consider yourself a boomer? And what do you think about Godzilla the series cartoon?
Dad jokes are fantastic. I'm a millennial, not a boomer. Although sometimes I can act like a boomer. But Godzilla the series cartoon, it was okay.
Is this the one with Gadzuki in it? It's not an answer.
No, it's not.
All right, awful. Garbage.
Only by semantics, because I believe that one is called Godzilla the animated series. Yes, so that's Godzilla the animated series, and then you have Godzilla the series.
Throw it out. I don't want it. I'm not a boomer. I'm a millennial, and dad jokes are what we built our brand on. So hashtag Ultra Daddies.
God, that was. I'm very ashamed of myself for that one. Pretty sure you can know all of my answers from. Wait, no, boomer? No, I'm not a boomer. And then Godzilla the series. I've got the series on DVD. We started watching them. I don't remember what happened, and now we're stuck on Ultraman. So by the time we finish all 30 different series, I'll come back to it when I'm actually a boomer. Wait. No, that doesn't work like that either. Okay, anyway, so B Trizzle asked, what is everyone's favorite non-Godzilla related kaiju? Whether that's movies, TV shows, anime, manga, comic books, novels. You asked a whole lot of things there. So what, maybe let's just talk about non-Godzilla related movies. If there's anything kaiju related, what would you say is your favorite?
I love the Gamera trilogy. Yeah, that's an easy answer for me. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah.
You said movies, but I gotta go with Sentai.
Yeah. No, just anything. Yeah. So out of the Sentai, then what's been your favorite series so far?
I love Car Ranger to death. It was hilarious and so goofy. But Jetman was a great drama that also had monsters in it. And the final episode, I legit got a little emotional. I felt it. And I won't say why, but
that's the one that I was told I needed to watch after I said I wasn't hooked by Zoo Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
So Car Ranger, do they turn into cars?
No. They're
Car
powered.
Ranger. That's Power Rangers Turbo here in the US, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one where they're powered by constellations in the shape of cars, and the constellations give them the car magic to morph into the Car Rangers, and then they use the car magic to fight a biker gang who wants to turn the entire of space into a space highway, so you can drive from one planet to the next.
David's so confused.
It doesn't make much more sense in context, and that's why I love it.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely does seem up your alley. I mean, I would echo Kim when she says the Gamera trilogy, in a sense of movies. I know there's people who hype them up to be like the greatest thing ever, but when it really you compare them against everything Godzilla's done, I don't think there's any competition at all, apart from the original, personally. But that being said, I have been impressed time and time and time again by the consistency and how good the Ultraman series are. The Showa ones are good in what they're supposed to do, but like the new gen series, I've just been absolutely hooked on, and I'm watching Ultraman Mebius right now. I have not laughed at Ultraman as much as I have with this one, or rather, I have quietly chuckled while lying next to my 5-year-old in bed because I don't want to wake him up. But pretty good stuff. This one's going to be good for you, Kim. So Dennis asked, if you were going to reuse Biollante in a Godzilla movie, how would you update / change her?
Ooh, good question. I would probably make her more mobile in her first form. She just looks more like Rose-like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what was the other part of the question? Did I answer everything?
Yeah, just update change if you're going to use it in a movie.
Yeah, just make her more mobile in her first form, because I like her first form a little better than her final form.
Yeah. Chris, you're not going to say it?
What?
I know you're thinking it.
No,
okay. No, I thought you heard final form and I thought you were going to go
the Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, I was like, that's low hanging fruit.
I thought you were going to rock the dragon, but whatever.
Missed opportunity.
I know.
Yeah.
So you haven't seen the movie, so I don't know. How would you change the monster that you imagine to be Biollante, Chris?
Oh, God. Okay. You said something about flowers or roses. Yeah, Biollante does not scream. It kind of screams like a DNA matador to me, like a double helix with like a, I don't know, something about the ante at the end. Making me think of like a double helix with like a little matador cape. So
Biollante.
Yeah, thank you. Exactly. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe like she uses her matador cape and like Godzilla charges, and then she's like yoink, like Lucy and Charlie Brown.
So. Rob, you have homework to do.
Yes, please. Oh my God, please.
See, I wish we would get more of a deeper consequence for Biollante existing because of Godzilla. Like, I know they get into that in the film, but like I really wish that would be more at the forefront. Like, to me, if we were talking about the Heisei, that would kind of be like some wasted potential there. Or I guess something that I would change. But yeah, I don't know if I'd really change much. I mean, what we ended up getting was incredible. So, Andrew asked, can Kim take over the podcast while you're on hiatus?
Kim, who's your novice that hasn't seen it?
Say what?
Who's your novice who hasn't seen Godzilla to co-host with?
My fiance hasn't really seen that many. I've showed him some Godzilla movies, but he's not obsessed with it as like I am though. So
not yet.
But I don't know. I don't know if I'd take over your show though.
So if you did that with your fiance, would you call it Lizard Lovers? I'm just thinking of the SNL skit. Sorry, I had to.
Oh my God.
Only us boomers would understand, okay?
Suddenly our RSVPs to the wedding have been lost.
Oh, good Lord. Okay.
So Jack asks, all three of you in a battle royale using plastic sporks as weapons. Who wins?
Street rules or prison rules?
Either way, I lose.
Of course, I can't help but think of Hot Rod there.
I might have been quoting it.
How did they phrase that? Like, that's slightly racist. Yeah.
Oh dear.
With what would win, a grilled cheese or a taco?
Grilled cheese and a taco.
Yeah. I would like to think I would, but I've got a bad back, so it may give out on me halfway through the fight. So it just depends on how quickly I could gouge out Chris's eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to get his glasses off first.
Yeah, true. But the nice thing about a spork is that it's both stabby and scoopy. So if you just got it
just
in
one fell scoop.
Oh yeah. Oh,
But
you should put that one.
Yeah, I would. So that's the thing, though. So who wins? I would kill Chris.
Mm-hmm.
I would let Kim leave because I like you, so I don't want you to die. But Chris, I'm sorry, man. You've run your course. So
yeah, I have. Oh my! Everything that I've ever contributed, it really peaked at 26.
Oh, and last question. I did save this for last. What piece of advice would you give someone who needs a little hope?
Oh.
Wear glasses during a spork fight.
Amen.
Or at least a face shield.
Don't watch the news.
Yo, okay,
Well.
there we go. That's one of them. Or at least not Newsmax or OAN. But is that your final answer?
Pretty good one.
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to make sure, like, if that was a serious answer, that's fine. I agree with you. How about you, Chris?
I would say, and I would apply this both with religious overtones and non-religious overtones, just to say, like, if you need a little hope, we are all capable of doing some good right now. And I'm not sure if I could give a one-size-fits-all approach to what we can each kind of contribute or what we can each kind of do good-wise. But, like, we're all capable of doing something good that helps someone else out. We're all capable of spreading a little of that hope ourselves to someone else. And I think it's that coming from inside to the outside, where when we stop kind of like letting our negative thoughts and our like despair consume us, but instead we become agents of change for someone else. Like, I think that's where you get the hope. That's where you can start to see that everything's not bad, because I personally have some kind of capacity to do something about it.
Yeah. I think for me, it's remembering that, or at least if you don't know it already, believing that all people are capable of change. It doesn't mean it will happen. Doesn't mean that it will happen as quickly as we would like. But I do believe that if someone is given the opportunity to receive compassion and love, even if that does hurt at times, right? I love my son, but he doesn't always feel like it's love all the time. I think if we believe that people can change, I think that gives us hope, because we stop seeing people as problems to be solved. So, which I feel like we've been dealing a lot with lately. So, and again, wear a face shield during a spork fight. It's really the only way you're going to win.
Amen.
All right. This is kind of bittersweet, Chris.
Yeah.
A little bittersweet. I'm going to cry. So, Kim, before I just emotional wreck, plug yourself. Where can people check you? Obviously, you've got the YouTubes, but do you actually have like a URL there, or do you have to type out that like 30 character string until you meet certain criteria to get a custom URL?
I do have a custom URL, but you can just go on YouTube, search Kaiju Kim. You can pretty much find me immediately. So on my channel, I do anything from film reviews to unboxings to baking a Godzilla cake for his birthday, which like
So
I attempted
awesome.
to do last week. But yeah, basically I just express my love for the genre and just have a good time. I upload a new video every other Tuesday. I don't want to give too much away, but I will be doing some Showa stuff on my channel very soon.
Okay.
I'm on Twitter at Kaiju Kim and Instagram at Kaiju_Kim. And if you follow me on those platforms, you can participate in polls that I do for my videos and get an idea of what I got coming up. And you can find me on Facebook, but I don't really post there that often. But I'm mainly on Twitter I'm on Twitter these days. So yeah.
But Kim, I mean, we really do appreciate you jumping on. Like,
Yes.
we discussed previously, we wanted to find a way to have you on the show. Now, it was not planned that we would have you on for our last episode before the hiatus, but Chris and I both agreed. We're very glad that you agreed to be on. We're very glad that our last episode for before we start this break, you are going to be a part of it. I've really grown to, appreciate what you've, not just obviously the friendship we've developed, but what you offer to the community. And just, it's a very trying time right now. So having someone that is able to bring not just positivity, right? There's got to be more than that, but bringing a refreshing and encouraging voice into the community is very well needed right now. So I know I can speak on behalf of many when I say you are appreciated and welcome. That being said, I am actually sad that we are going on break, but it is important. Mental and family and everything else, health is important. But Chris, I'm going to have you read the ending this time.
Whoa. All right. Let's see. Well, I mean, really though, we say thank you every week for people to listen, but we genuinely do. We genuinely are thankful for people who listen. It's so surreal that people would take an hour plus, or unless you're listening at double speed, half an hour out of your day to listen to us every other week.
Kaiju Chipmunk.
Yeah, I wonder if it's something like that. But no, genuinely, it's so weird. Like the fact that stuff that came out of my mouth is on a T-shirt now, it blows my mind. It's honestly just crazy. I could not mention that one more time. So yeah, I mean, honestly, thank you everyone for tuning in to the Kaiju Apostle podcast. If for some reason you like what you heard and you have a comment you'd like to share, you can let us know over on our Twitter page. So you can always tweet us at Kaiju Apostle Pod. My personal Twitter is Chris Worms that was about my email address. It's at Chris Worms. That's WERMS. I guess also my email is chrisworms@gmail if you really need to hit me up. David, you want to talk about your personal handle? You gonna be on there much or?
Yeah, I'll still be on there. It's a kiss you guys.
And then I'm sure we'll have Kim's information in the show notes or on Twitter as well.
We will.
But yeah, so in the meantime, with the holidays coming up, we will probably both not be on Twitter quite as much, but when there's Ultramans to be discussed or Sentais to be tweeted about, we'll be there. So feel free to shoot us a message, a DM, if you've got just really burning kaiju thoughts you got to share. Let us know. If you've got some fan art,
if you want to talk about Ultraman's butt, let me know.
Hey, please let us know if you want to talk about him and his butt. But really, though, also if you have prayer requests, feel free to email those. If you want to tweet them, DM us, whatever, we'd be happy to take those and pray for you. Because we really do appreciate that. We really do pray for you. We both have lists that they go on. So, yes. But yeah, but until next time, Oh, I thought that was you, David.
May
But until
Mothra
next
watch
time.
over you. No,
Oh,
I was gonna read it. Let's
Go.
do my sensual voice again. Okay.
Please don't.
May Mothra watch over you, Godzilla empower you, and High Priest Moist Minya bring you joy.
Thanks, Moist Minya.
Here I am, Frank. Get ready to meet your maker. Oh, God! We hadn't even started yet!
Never underestimate your opponent.
What's up now, Frank? I'm doing this because I love you! Never underestimate your opponent.
Well. Finally. A fight I might actually... Gotcha.
What the hell? Is that a throwing star?
Oh, hell yeah, Ronnie, kick his ass!
Come on, old man! Come on!
Old man, young heart.
Oh, shit. No mercy. Come on, guys. Come on, let's wrench it. Oh, Jesus Christ. He just rocked him with a brick. Oh, here we go.
Should we stop them?
Oh, no, they're fine.
Say it, Frank! Say I'm a man!
Never.
Say it!
You're a man. Say it again. You're a man, son. Oh, you gotta be kidding me.